Okay,
So it is.
Okay.
Okay.
so amendment right off the bat from the agenda, it is being recorded. If anybody else is present, and if anybody else is recording this, they need to let us know. Is anybody recording it out there? Anybody? No? Okay,
Can we hear from them? If they want?
Yeah, I think if they unmute their mics, yeah.
Well, that was an issue last time, so.
well, and we want to,
Says yes.
Don is recording.
Oh, yeah. it says
Mike is not
recording
working.
there. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, this is.
That's helpful.
Well, at least we've got some, communication.
No, it needs to be two-way.
It's never happened except in this meeting.
Yeah. Well, they can hear us and they can respond via text, I suppose, if.
Yeah, there was a
Don't
little
mind
text
if-
menu on the bottom that said yes when we asked if somebody was recording.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, they can hear us and they can respond back to us
So
via the
I'm not
chat.
happy with that. I think we really need to have two-way.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Should be
Well,
able,
is it just Don's mic that's not working?
Somebody
Hey,
else?
Stephanie, can you see if your mic works, please?
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear Ryan.
Hi,
Stephanie, we can hear lots of people.
can you hear me?
Yep, we can
Yeah.
hear you, Stephanie. Thank you. I think it just,
Grady, can we hear you?
Ann, Grady, anybody?
I'm here.
Oh, Doug, hi.
Hi, Doug.
Oh, hi, Doug.
May just be the mic. On the
I think it might just, Dawn, it might just be your microphone. Do you want to send me a message and let me know if you're able? I'll go get my other phone because it might be on there.
Hi, Grady. Thanks for the message. I got it.
Oh, I think you can hear me now, right?
Yes,
Oh, good.
we got you.
Great.
I'm just not the most technologically proficient, but I was able to unmute it, and I am not recording the meeting.
Okay, all right.
You can turn them up.
And hello, everybody.
Yeah, can you turn that sound up, please? The audio up. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Here we go.
There's Elizabeth has raised a hand.
I raised my hand, but now I think that I have unmuted.
Yes.
And you
Here
are-
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I am
Thank
not
you.
I am not recording.
Okay,
Thank
Let me
you.
see if I can unraise my hand.
all right.
All right.
Okay. All right, good. So roll call of members.
Yes.
Going down the list, John Celia, Chair.
Yeah.
Sarah, go around the room.
Sarah Bullock.
Present.
Margot Jones, Vice Chair.
Jeremy Eversole, alternate.
Jim Blagg, Secretary.
Matt Abbey. Present. I don't have a special position.
And Doug. And Doug.
Doug.
Sorry. Sorry. It sounds like not what I meant. Hey, Doug. Okay. All right. Approval of the minutes.
The special
Of-
special
Special
meeting.
Yes.
meeting, everybody got
August
it?
meeting.
I got it.
Okay.
Looks good to me.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So moved. Minutes accepted. Okay. Old business. Update MHS survey.
Can we get the agenda in front of? I sent it out. Oh, you've got a copy? Great.
I just have one copy
Oh,
because, I figured,
okay, great.
yeah, it's pretty, it was just a boilerplate one, just so we can get on the record.
Okay,
that it
Thank you.
happened.
okay, so, are you calling on me?
Sure, yeah.
Mass Historic Commission Survey and Planning Grant. We finally have notes back from Mass Historic. I think it's 27 pages or 36 pages. It's a huge volume of
Wow.
notes. So there's a lot to digest, and then we'll schedule a progress meeting, the phase 3 meeting, and go from there.
So can you characterize the notes?
I read to page 6, just very specific, detailed, like the way a reference is cited needs to be just certain way. And if there's a map that doesn't actually include the build, if it's from before when the building was built, they don't care about it. They want to see the building on a map. the way the recorder is cited, for example, it's supposed to be the Gazette and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Anyway, it's very, very in the weeds.
Hmm.
So are you gonna,
And-
we're gonna have to sit down with the contractor and go through that stuff, or
Right.
does the contractor get those notes too?
Oh, yeah, he has notes.
So presumably he's gonna be going through
Hmm.
them? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I actually checked with him. I said, are you okay?
All right, well,
He said, okay.
well, if it's gonna be posted up, it needs to be right.
Yeah,
I mean, that's basically
Right.
what they're
It's-
doing, right?
many eyes
Yeah, okay.
make,
Yeah, those little proofreading things, it sounds like he
yes,
just goes through
mostly
and
proofreading.
he
Yeah.
just does it and
And there's a standard Mass Historic way of doing things,
Sure.
and Brian's from Vermont. I mean, he does a lot of projects in Massachusetts, so it's not unusual for him. But
Okay,
anyway, progress is happening.
good.
Nice.
And when when it's scheduled for that update meeting, I'll invite everybody if you want to come.
Cool. Very cool.
Okay, great.
Well, I'm glad to see that happening. Let's see. So CPC committee, Dave Brock's not here. He sent me an email. He did also send me an email saying that he is going to be able to continue with the Historic Commission and the CPC because he's being pulled in other directions and has other priorities. So he's going to be leaving the commission.
He's leaving the commission, which then leaves him off the CPC.
Off the CPC, yes. Yeah. So
So we're gonna have to, when we get, maybe at the next meeting, we're gonna have to name somebody to fill in for him on the CPC, right?
yeah, so you guys.
When
think
is he actually leaving?
That's a good question. I mean, I would say effective immediately, but he didn't say. It sounded like he was pretty much done. I could read you the email if you want, but
No,
that's
that's okay.
yeah, that's the basic of it. And you know, I know the CPC is still pretty early in the process,
Yeah.
so I think that it shouldn't be too hard to find somebody to, you know,
How many
to
historic
get up to speed.
applications were there? I forgot to look.
I don't know.
We can look.
I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
on their website.
That's on the website. Yeah, there's always a few. I know there's a few. So you guys think about that because you are the guys.
I talked to somebody who's involved with the Green River Cemetery,
Yeah,
in that building that they have, the chapel,
the chapel. Yeah, yeah.
which is not in good shape.
Yes.
And so it's
Very cool.
on the board, and he's saying, you know, is there any source of funding for helping to at least stabilize that?
Good. So perfect on it. Sorry.
Stabilize that building, and I suggested CPC.
Yeah.
And told him how that worked and where he could get the application form and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hopefully there's a chance to make that.
Yeah.
To make that.
Can I get the people that are here so I can get the names on the attendance list here?
Sorry. Anna Baldnolo from the Greenfield Public Library.
And your last name is again?
BOGNOL.
Okay.
Chris Larrabee with the report.
Yeah, Chris. I know you. Good guy.
All right, well, so this is actually really good timing because I was just about to read the email from Anna about her interest for CPC project. So would you want to?
Yeah.
You ready to just
A
go?
little out of breath. 'Cause I ran.
I could go to read the email while you.
No, that's okay. I applied for a CPC preservation grant. As I'm sure you know, in the new library, we were able to create a local history room, which is a collection of materials, prints, and microfilm recorder from the first recorder to it's all on microfilm until I think 2018. And lots of local maps and books of local history interest. That collection has been around for a long time. It was stored in very poor conditions for many years in the old library because it didn't have space for it. It's now been reunited, and a lot of the materials are in really poor condition. Broken spines, fragile papers for the maps. And my hope is to since many of them, I believe, are unique in the sense that they are about Greenfield, history of Greenfield. They stand to be preserved and put into preservation friendly containers so that their deterioration is minimized, but remain in access to those who want to use it. And the room is actually quite popular. Lots of people come and look at the materials that are there. So what I was told when I went last Thursday to the Community Preservation Committee, that I was approved for step one. I'm sure maybe you know how they do this.
Yes.
They have it
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we passed step one, and at that time they told me that I need to get the Historic Commission to approve these items as historical, for the state historical record, perhaps.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I don't have a list of all the items right now because there's
Sure.
so many.
Sure.
And we actually have some people who are volunteering to reorganize and index. Everything is cataloged. So I've gone to our database people to ask them to print me out a list of every item in that local history room collection. And let me know if any other library owns copies, right? So if they are unique to us, then we'll know, oh, we're the only ones who have a copy, unless there's one out in the world someplace, which may be.
Yeah.
So I need to get that list in order to give that to you.
Yep.
And unfortunately,
I don't
did not
think you
have that
do.
today.
No, I think if you
Oh.
characterize it,
Yeah.
then I don't think we need to have a
okay.
distinctive list. It's
We
definitive.
trust in judgment.
Okay.
Well, and we all remember the Greenfield room and the old.
Sure, we know,
Greenfield room.
yeah.
It's kind of what,
Right,
yeah.
it was boxed up and
Oh, yeah.
and made into an office.
Right, and our former member, Peter Miller, was super
Yeah.
involved with that.
Yeah,
And
right.
so I speak for the group, we all support the reestablishing and the
I
outfitting of
just think
that
that,
space.
you know,
Yeah,
to preserve the broken spines on the books,
Yeah,
or to
right.
glue back ripped pages, like,
And to get them out.
and
in
they're
the
out,
room.
they are out.
Oh,
but
they are
they're
out.
getting-
Oh,
they're
okay.
getting
So I'd like
used
to
and
move that we put together a letter like that, as we have done in the past on projects, and go ahead and have John sign it and send it
Okay,
to you, copy to you and copy to CPC. Is that the way you do it?
Mhm.
And so you'll have that letter and you can just, John, you can just characterize it as an archive documents that are in the possession. I do have a question for you though, a little bit aside from that. When I was the editor of the Recorder, we had a deal with the library and we,
this is gonna be a very good conversation. Did I talk to you about this once? Yes.
I mean, yeah,
That was one.
touching on a nerve with Jim,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah, sorry.
so we had a deal. We routinely microwave.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Microfilmed our.
Whatever you call it.
Microfilmed our issues.
Yeah.
And we had a set of those
Yeah.
microfilms at the paper.
Mhm.
But we also made the deal with the company that did it to give a copy of each reel to the library.
And it is so popular.
Is it still being
Oh,
done?
no, not since, from what I understand, the paper was sold to a different
No,
organization.
no.
There was it predates me, but I know something
It
happened.
was so,
and it
well,
has not happened, and I'm looking into how to make this happen.
okay, so the company was,
Yeah.
the company that owned the paper purchased the Gazette in Northampton.
Right.
And that extended the number of papers that was in it, which were several papers in New Hampshire
Right.
and
They're
the paper in Northampton
yeah.
and the Recorder. And that company still owns
New England.
New England
I think
newspapers,
it's called.
yeah.
Yeah,
and family-owned business out of
Yeah.
Concord, New Hampshire, and they still own the paper as well as these other papers.
right.
And that has not changed as far as I know. They have changed publishers many, many times. I think I worked for 6,
Mhm.
but in my time there. But if in fact they have stopped doing that, Chris, do they still
I don't believe
microfilm?
so. I think we,
So,
I don't want to speak for the company, but I believe we sent our archives out to Midwest for newspapers.com access. Don't quote me though.
Okay, so if they stop doing the microfilm, you think?
Yeah, I
Yeah, the
believe. so.
microphone is not,
That'd be
and I,
perfect for Paul,
and I
maybe.
think I think part of that is because everything is born digital now. Right, so they're actually, it's
Well,
not the.
newspapers.com is a digital copy of newspapers across the
Right.
country. And if they're sending the digital copy to them, what you guys need to do is have a subscription to newspapers.com.
Yes, and I think the problem might be it's the prohibitive costs,
Is it?
which the library budget does not. So
Okay.
if someone wants to give that to us, then
So,
that's fantastic.
so why
That's
don't,
my thoughts.
Yeah. right.
yeah, you need to talk to the publisher.
And the other thing that's possible, we have saved every printed version of the reporter since 2018, I think.
Yeah.
And we don't have any more space, like, it's
Tell me about it.
crazy.
Yeah.
But we could become, and this is where things get really complicated, but this is how libraries do things, or this is how things work. We could get them digitized.
Yeah.
I believe for free through a grant program.
Yes.
But because of copyright and the owners of the newspaper, we wouldn't be able to say, put that on our website for people to access. We could only have it available in the library, kind of like the microfilm.
Right.
You have to come to the library.
Yeah.
But many people people from even further afield than Massachusetts
Yeah.
are often looking for articles that appear in there. And so the desire is to have access, right?
Right.
Not
Well,
just
I
here,
think
but
getting access within the library is probably your first
it's our,
step.
yes.
I mean, if you can get that done, but
we do have a subscription to a database called Newsbank.
yes,
But Newsbank doesn't provide, and this is the difference, Newsbank only provides the HTML copy.
right.
It doesn't provide the images, it doesn't have the same layout as a newspaper, and many people want, and that's the
It's
thing.
really
the
a copy
digital
of
version-
your website is what it is, of their website rather than the paper.
Yeah, it's just text, it's pure text.
Right.
So you can find an article, but it's just the text, and a lot of people want that feeling of the newspaper,
Sure.
right?
Well, when I was working there, we had a copy of every newspaper printed
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
back to 1892
Yeah,
in the paper physically.
yeah.
Bound copies of every newspaper printed, including the weeklies in town.
Where are those?
Well, may you ask?
Well, I mean, I had.
Last time I saw them, they were in skids in the press room. I don't know where.
Yeah, it was pretty gutted in there last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I recall, because I worked for the Gazette for a very short time, working on the printing press, and I know they had like a shelf full of copies, like in the room next to the
Sure.
printing press down in Northampton.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it was like up to the
Oh, yeah, they had a
ceiling,
whole
it
room
was
full.
like,
We have a-
take up a lot of space, yeah.
Anyway, okay, thank you for answering.
Yeah, it's something that I've kind of stopped because I don't know who to reach out to go to the next step. If you could email me at the library.
Yeah, giving the name of the
So
publisher.
I don't have business cards, we don't have business cards, but,
Oh, yeah,
you know that, don't you?
I do know that. I just got some today.
Yeah.
It
Ah.
was weird in all these years. Yeah,
So,
Margo.
how much did you apply for?
for the
Or
CPC.
is it
I don't
non-monetized
think
yet?
it's non-monet, I don't think it's monetized.
So far, it's.
So my other option.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever they give us is more than what we have.
Yeah.
So that's always welcome. The other option, and we may have to do this in any case, is going through the State Historical Records Advisory Board, SHRAB, which has a roving archivist program. And they travel the states doing assessments of basically cultural heritage. And I'm really good friends with the local archivist and roving archivist. She lives in East Hampton. And she came to see me and she's like, I think you would qualify for a roving archivist assessment. They come in and they do an evaluation of your collection and give you tips and advice. And then the best part is they have a re-grant, and it's all free. I mean, if you're approved, they do this for you and they'll tell you what you need to do to preserve your items. The one plus is that we already have the proper climate control because it's the new library, so the climate control is perfect for the paper materials. But they can come in and say, you need to do this to this and preserve this in that way, and just get boxes and things like that.
Does that cost
No,
to have them come in and do
No.
that?
It's
'Cause I think-
entirely free, but then what they have is a re-grant program where they will give you money to buy the materials,
Mhm.
X amount of money if you qualify. And then they will also find you a field worker who will come and do the work. I
Nice.
know they did work at the Historical Society here,
Yeah.
in town,
Oh,
and I heard it was a little bit of a rocky relationship, but
Oh,
I don't know any more than that, but I know that they are always looking for projects in Massachusetts of historical relevance.
Are a lot of the people that go into the room, are they doing genealogical stuff? Is that a
Some of
big,
them, yeah, some of them, a lot of people have moved away or they had family from this area and they've come to town and they want to see whether their grandparents were on the street list or.
Yeah,
you know,
street
what
list
they-
books,
street list,
yeah.
We have all of
right,
those.
all of those, yeah.
And those are very popular, the
Yeah.
street list books.
There's about a 6-foot shelf of genealogical material from Greenfield at the Historical Society
Yes,
in their reference library.
yeah,
And if you got that duplicated and put that on your shelf, it would get the heck used out of it.
yeah.
So-
Because it is really,
Yeah.
really good stuff collected by people who did just that, including the author.
well, I'm wondering if they would
volume.
be willing to have it digitized. I
Or have it
know.
have it on loan, like available to you guys,
Yeah.
because the access to the library is gonna
That's
be
true.
They
Yeah.
have
Way
very
more than
limited
it-
access,
Yeah.
so.
way more
If you
than,
can send me the name of a person to contact.
Yeah,
then
we
I
can do
reach
that.
out to them.
Yeah.
And see what they say about that.
Yeah.
So-
They're a private entity, right?
Yes.
yeah, they're not town thing.
Um,
But, you know, in terms of the grant thing, I mean, I think what you want to do is kind of like hone it down to get specific about
Mhm.
what you want. I mean,
Yeah.
from when I was on the CPC initially, you know, they're looking for specifics. They're looking
Mhm.
for pretty dialed in stuff. We're gonna do X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
and it's gonna cost this.
Yeah.
And you're much more likely to get
Mhm.
that and you ask for that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that's what I would say, but in terms of the support, we, you know, I think we pretty much got it.
enthusiastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, no, back to your question about the use, it's pretty popular. We have one gentleman who works at microfilm, the recorder. I think every day he comes in and sits there for a couple of hours. At one time, he was
Sounds
looking for a
nice.
former girlfriend.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
gosh.
not as nice now, not as nice now. In theory, it seems nice. Oh, well, it went there.
Another
Yeah.
concern, and this is maybe not, I'll just say this and then I'll shut up, but the microfilm has a good lifespan. It is pretty durable, but our concern is also that something happened and we're gonna look probably into getting it digitized with another grant at some point so that we have
Okay.
a digital copy as
Yeah,
well.
there's no index to it, so
No,
it's a real exercise
Yeah,
in frustration trying to find stuff on
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
And the Boston Public Library, the Digital Commonwealth also has kind of a newspaper digitization program as well.
Yeah.
And that's something that we could potentially look into. Again, lots of issues around copyright always pop up, but it's something that we can certainly look into.
all right, well, thank you, Anna, for coming out.
Thank you guys for listening and.
Yeah, you
and,
bet, anytime.
So, thank you so much. And thank you for your support. Means a lot. Moving
You are
forward.
welcome.
Moving forward.
We wish we could
Exciting.
meet in that room, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's divorce.
Anyway,
Never mind.
nice to see you,
Nice
thanks
to
for,
see you.
all right.
Your meeting, folks.
Yes, right, let's
Thank
keep
you.
on trucking, cause somebody's gotta go back to work. Old business, third item, YMCA Church. There's an elephant for you. Discussion of options. Well, yeah. Where do we
Bring us
start?
Up to date on the latest letter from Mark.
Yeah, okay, so,
That on the record.
let's see. Let's pull it back up here. So anyway, we got a letter today from Mark Snow, regarding the demolition permit, which was applied for, and denied.
It was rejected as
Okay.
incomplete. It
Yeah,
wasn't denied.
Wasn't denied.
sorry, that was the terminology in the initial email.
Oh,
But,
yeah. Oh,
and it just came out at 4:13, I got the email, so.
Okay.
This email is regarding the permit application for the demolition of 463 Main Street and the denial letter for a permit. So they denied the permit outright. There are two attachments included with this email. One attachment is a copy of the incomplete permit application. One attachment is the denial letter. The denial letter should go out with today's mail. So, Grady, you must be aware of that, yes? Hello, Grady.
Sorry about that. What was the question? I was on mute again. What was the question?
I just wanted to know if you were aware of the letter from Mark Snow.
No, but I'm sure I will be shortly.
Right, so we got an email at 4:13 saying the application was denied because it was incomplete. And that a physical letter is going out into the mail, but since you're here, we're all here, now we know. And then there's an attachment that I can read. Western Mass Demolition Corporation, to whom it may concern, this letter is regarding property at 463 Main Street. On September 30th, this office received by mail an application to demolish any building. While office staff was reviewing the application, they found the permit application incomplete. As a result of this incomplete permit application and construction document submission, this office must deny this permit application submission as submitted in accordance with 780 CMR, Massachusetts State Building Code, 9th edition, etc. This permit application is denied as submitted for the following reasons. Number 1, Section 5, no description of work was provided. Number 2, Section 6, not completed. Number 3, Section 9, not completed. Number 4, Section 10, not completed. Number 5, no photos of the structure provided. This office is returning the permit application, associated construction documents. If you agree by any decision or order relating to these regulations, you may file an appeal, etc. So that's the letter. So that's signed by Mark Snow and CC'd to us.
I will speak with my colleagues and we'll speak with Mark and make sure that our contractor understands there's a lot more.
You want to shut
Can
that?
you speak up, Grady?
We have a hard time hearing you, Grady. So please begin again. We want to hear what you have to say.
I just thank you for reading that. I will be sure that we'll speak with our contractor to make sure that application is appropriately filed. And I apologize on their behalf for the incompleteness of it. I'm not sure why, but I will find out and we'll take care of it.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm sure it's sort of a formality in terms of the demolition application. And that's not really I think the issue. I think the issue is more once that application goes through, as you know, because of the historical status of the church, this commission has deemed it necessary to have a public hearing to discuss that demolition delay ordinance. And so it's my intent at this meeting for us to kind of nail down the specifics of that.
What's the mandatory delay?
6 months.
6 months delay is part of that ordinance. And that allows us to schedule a public hearing on the matter.
Well, my understanding is once the demolition application is accepted by the building inspector, he will contact us.
Right.
And then we'll schedule within 45 days, we must have a hearing. And at that hearing, we determine whether to delay the demolition or not. And if the building is considered historic, according to our demolition bylaw, then we must invoke the 6-month delay.
So that's where we stand, and we're waiting for receipt of that of that permit, once it's granted, then this other procedure according to the ordinance, which you can find online, goes into effect. And there is not, if you look at the ordinance, it does not say may.
Right.
For us, it says must.
Oh, no, shall.
Shall, well,
Yeah,
shall,
yeah,
must,
Yeah.
will, on pain of death. Yeah, something along those lines. That's the wording. So, was that your understanding, Grady, did you know about that?
I do now, so thank you.
Okay, just
Yeah,
so, just so you know, and that's all spelled out.
And we will, the application will be completed and we will get that back to Mark.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, just to reiterate, once that application is accepted, because right now it's incomplete, that's obviously a simple fix on your part or the demolisher's part. It will come to us and then we'll have to go from there, but that's gonna, we have to look at.
Going to be for a while. And again, I just want to emphasize that if you look at the ordinance, it's very clear and you can find the ordinance online.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm surprised that you didn't know about that
Yeah,
coming to this meeting.
yeah,
I mean, considering that we had a special meeting in August and discussed it at length,
yeah.
and the mayor and the mayor's chief of staff was present and it was recorded.
And they said they were in contact with you. So-
Yeah, and the mayor actually came to the meeting and spoke really on behalf of you
Yeah,
about the plans of what you were going to do. So
Yeah.
it sounded pretty clear like that was what was going down
Yeah.
back in August.
yeah.
So just saying, I'm surprised to hear that you're not aware of that.
Right. And the
You
contractor,
sent an email.
Yeah.
and the contractor should be aware of it too if they do business in the state. Because that's not an unusual ordinance
Yeah,
for the
so
state.
anyway,
John, this is Grady. When I responded, I was not aware. I was responding to the fact that there was a letter from Mark Snow that's being mailed. I wasn't aware of that.
You hadn't gotten that letter yet?
As far as the demolition permit, as far as the potential for a delay, I'm very aware of that. I met with you folks last May, and we went over all of that. So if I misspoke, I apologize, but I'm.
Okay.
okay, yeah, I just,
That's good. Thank you.
yeah, I didn't want you to, it was in the paper and everything. It was kind of covered.
I received that letter from Mark, which I was referring to.
Okay. Yeah, that latest one just went out today, so.
Yeah, that just came out, so it's still in the mailbox.
All right.
Um,
So anything else to add? Do you want any questions for us?
No, we don't.
Okay. Right.
so, you guys, what do you think?
Just wait,
We just wait. I mean,
We can't
see what happens.
schedule the hearing
we
without.
can't schedule the hearing,
No,
right?
no,
so-
you can't do anything.
Right, correct. So that kind of is what it is.
Right.
As it stands right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
In terms of that,
No.
no, I guess I did see a couple of nice letters in the paper.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote a couple of nice letters about you should go walk around the church and enjoy it while it's still there because it's pretty cool. Yeah, a couple of people wrote a couple of nice letters, so that was kind of nice.
Somebody tried to do that and was told to stay off the property.
That might have been after that letter was published.
It was.
It was in the recorder and it was a guy who was like, yeah, you should go check it out while you
Yeah,
still can. And then I think that's when the fencing went up, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't.
Right, that is correct.
Nevertheless,
The inevitability, so nothing's inevitable. Right, ideally, the demolition
yeah.
delay finds a solution in the end, but.
All right.
Right.
Any other discussion on that? You guys, not really? Okay. Well, demolition, new business. We go right to demolition applications, ironically, sort of. And I have a couple right here. Demolition for a 2-car garage. I have not looked at yet. Let me go back. And then there was one of a person who'd already demolished something without a permit. Just letting us know that they demolished a 36 by 40 garage. And I asked if there was a fine. And they said there was. Vicky Baker. So that was on Elm Street, 64 Elm Street.
So there's a fine, so they demolished it and they were fined and.
Yeah, they demolished without, permit, so they got a fine. I don't know how much that is, whatever, but, let's see. That's it. That's in terms of, demolition applications that we've gotten. What else? Last, at the meeting, we mentioned that work on 171-86 Main Street. Do you remember
I
that?
thought we'd taken care of that.
Well, I think we were just like waiting for more information. We don't have a lot of information on it. It was just like in
shared,
the
it was
super.
shared to me and I shared it out right onto
Yeah.
you guys.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I think it's called the Cone Building. It's a single story,
Right, so you gotta know where the tunnel is.
right next to the tunnel west.
Yeah.
Right in there. Is
Yeah.
it where the copy shop is, maybe?
Yeah, it's copycat printing.
Okay. Anyway,
Light
Yeah,
drawings and that.
Our consensus was it wasn't anything historical.
the structure's not, but is it in the historic district? Because it's right on Main Street there.
Yeah,
Downtown historic.
Right.
So I guess right, my concern, I guess, would not be that, but what they built. That new construction,
well, that's,
Yeah, I don't think we even had enough, like, I don't think we have any more information other than like they were planning something.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we haven't seen any drawings or
Yeah.
site plan or nothing. I think it's just such like it's so far in the preliminary stages that it was just like a, hey, this is gonna be coming up.
Yeah.
Rather than like, we have to do something
Yeah.
about it right now. So
So-
I think we're just waiting.
What did MHC say? I can't remember, because we had,
About that,
yeah,
I think that was their letter to us.
that was.
Yeah, because I think that they had been contacted and so they reached out to us.
okay, but we do need more information.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of a non-issue.
I'm curious if maybe this is, I haven't looked into it, but like if there's other, like cultural history or something, like the building architecturally isn't, doesn't stand out, but like I believe it was the original, or what was a Woolworths, like one of the original Woolworths was in that building at some point, so.
Oh, no, that's further, that's all further down, yeah.
that's further down.
And that was a whole other thing, man. Yeah, we actually worked on that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, I
Yeah.
don't know if you know this or not, if you go out the back door of Greenfields Market
Yeah,
and you walk out the door into the parking lot
Yeah.
and take a look 90 degrees to your left, you'll see there's a Woolworth sign on that building
no kidding.
from the original store.
Cool.
That's where the building was, right next to Greenfields Market. So it's.
To the west.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the
West.
west side, yeah.
And if you look at
Yeah,
it.
I remember going there.
It's still up on the building.
Yeah.
It's covered by ivy partially, but it's still,
Neat.
it never got taken down.
There you go.
So somebody, I don't know, I meant to tell the society about it because they have a.
I always love
Certainly when
Woolworths.
Peter was there, they love to find old signs and
Yeah, sure.
save them.
Yeah.
And that's an old sign, but,
The Whitney Hill store now?
huh?
Is that Whitney Hill now? That's not-
No.
Whitney Hills
No,
was
it's-
Sears.
Building right next to, it's right there, well, it's the old Woolworths right next to Greenfield Market.
It's the
It would-
bed store or whatever.
Oh.
Wasn't it actually a McClellan's?
Yes.
No, there was a.
Was it Woolworths first and then McClellan's?
There,
Or was it Penny Parker? No, that was.
no, I'm trying to think if that sign says Woolworth or. Well, anyway, it's one of the five and dimes. I don't
Irregardless.
remember which one.
I like to say.
was that?
The old red with the gold.
Yeah, totally.
How long ago was that?
Oh, geez.
Since they tore it, since they got,
Since it closed?
Yeah.
gotta be.
36 is
plus
the year.
years. Yeah, it's been hanging
I
out.
don't remember that.
Oh, yeah,
That was long
man.
before my time.
I can remember my sister worked there. You could go there, you can get like a grilled cheese sandwich,
Yeah.
buy a parrot and get a battery for your car.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Anything.
Like, I love that. Like, where can you do that?
Yeah.
You can't do that at Walmart. You know, I want a
Good old
parrot.
days.
I want a parrot and a grilled cheese sandwich.
Cherry phosphate.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Go to Costco for that now.
Okay. Well, that's all I got, really, unless you guys, other, Jeremy?
Are you opening the floor for other comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There were two potential things that I had that might be of interest.
Oh, that's, you sent an email.
Yeah. The one related to, I just saw a notice of these. Where did I find the email? The LOIs for the Preservation Massachusetts preservation grants that are due. So there's preservation matching grants, $10,000 for exterior work on historic properties owned or leased by nonprofit organizations. So I just saw that and didn't know if there are organizations or buildings in the community that would benefit from knowing about this grant that you guys, I'm sure, know better than I do.
These guys, planning should know about that, and that they're the ones that would hear about something going on and be able to tell them, yeah, look at that grant, right? Because you're sort of you're sort of the crossroads of all of that stuff, right? Somebody's saying, well, we want to do the facade or we want to do this, and then they would tell them about that grant, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds right.
Tell Eric Torg about it.
Yeah, Eric or Mark Snow.
Yeah.
Those would be the two people who would probably know the most.
Pass that on to Eric too.
And if you want to email it to me too, I can pass it on as well and just stay looped in.
Good.
Yeah.
It's for nonprofits or profits?
Nonprofit. So it looks like,
okay,
yeah. So it looks like, they have $125,000 to go around the state. There are $10,000 grants that need to be matched. Exterior work only. But it looks like historic properties owned or leased by nonprofit organizations. So some nonprofits in a historic building.
So economic development might be a good place to send that as well.
Okay.
Our economic development director, Amy Callahan. And if you forward that to me, then I can make sure it gets to all the right people too.
Okay.
Thank you for flagging this.
Super.
Yeah, we always love the money.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's like that finding golden treasure in the Wendell State Forest.
Yeah. Oh my God. I've heard about that. That so closely. And I mean, I never actually went and looked.
And then the guy never decided not to claim the prize.
Oh my God.
And then broke it when he was taking it out of the woods. So
what was this?
This was a golden treasure hunt.
It was like a little golden spiral, like this big.
In Wendell State.
Was it a while ago?
No, it was just happened today.
Just found it. And it was a statewide search for this thing.
Really?
And it gradually zoomed down to Wendell State Forest, and this fellow from Boston found it in the woods. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Who grew up in Wendell?
Yeah. And then all he had to do is take a picture of himself finding it and send it to Boston. He would get 80 grand.
Okay. And
turned that down. He didn't want to do that.
Okay.
And then he managed to stumble on the way out of the woods and break the sculpture.
Oh,
but he still has the gold sculpture, which is worth something.
Whatever. Wow. That's dumb and dumber.
Hey. They donated to charity.
Jesus.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Your first.
Anyway.
Off topic.
Definitely.
Great. Yeah. So the other, I went to the Preservation Massachusetts conference last week, which was out in Worcester, and I attended one of the sessions was on demolition delay ordinances. So I thought if the commission is interested, I can share, what I learned from there. And I don't have any kind of a formal report, which is kind of notes that may be of interest to think about. So it sounds, my understanding is that the AIA, the American Association of Architects in Massachusetts, is in the process of completing a study of demolition delay ordinances in Massachusetts to think through ways to make them more effective, essentially. I guess a lot of them, my understanding, were kind of copied more or less verbatim from a template at the state. And yeah, so they shared research and about ways to make them better and talked about what they have done in Salem, Mass to try to improve there. And by improve, essentially trying to help them come to some kind of a preservation solution in the end and not just be something that delays an inevitable demolition and becomes obstructionist. So how can the process come to a mutually agreeable solution? So obviously aimed at an audience of preservationists in the audience. A number
Point
of
of
things
order.
that
We can't see who's talking. So if you were to be able to announce who is actually, or introduce yourself or turn the video camera on? We have no idea who's presenting anything. We can't see the room.
What about that?
That's reasonable.
Hey,
Hey,
you should have known that at 5 o'clock, eh? Oh, well.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry, Stephanie, that was my fault. I did not press.
I didn't know it did that.
I apologize.
So introduce yourself.
so, Jeremy Ebersol here, alternate on the commission. Yes, so again, not a formal presentation, so apologize if this jumps around a little bit. But some of the recommendations that they were making, essentially saying that the demolition delay in itself, isn't necessarily enough, that it's important. And we may do this already, but it's important that the commission is kind of active in talking with planning departments to reach solutions, working with the building owner, find preservation solutions for the building or find alternate buyers, having those follow-up conversations once the demolition delay is established. They've mentioned that there is a kind of updated sample demo delay bylaw available from the Mass Historical Commission. Apparently it's not on the website, but is available if they're reached out and asked for it. And encouraging also doing some level of research on any building that has a demolition or has a historic building or a building within a historic district that has a demo permit pooled, because sometimes that history can be hidden in a way that we can't see in the architecture. So they gave an example of a building that is now very nondescript, but was in the 60s, like a roller rink that was, used in, so,
Things like that I can think of.
things like that, the things that we can't see on the outside, so whether that's someone on a commission or they were encouraging like hire a professional, and obviously that requires money and a budget to hire someone to do additional research into these buildings so that we, have an idea of if there's hidden history essentially. And other recommendations that they made, and I am not speaking in favor or I'm not passing a judgment on any of these, but just reporting on some of the things that they suggested. They encouraged, the ideas of changing the name of the demolition delay to a preservation period, kind of reframe the conversation again. This is something that is demolition delay says we're stopping you from inevitably demolishing this building for a time period, and that feels antagonistic when the goal should be that it is a time period where we are working towards a preservation solution together. So little things like that. They also suggested that a delay or a preservation period of 12 to 18 months is really much more effective than the shorter terms in reaching a solution and kind of discouraging the demolition of potentially historic buildings. The shorter time periods can be absorbed more easily. Something that's longer has a little bit more teeth and kind of more effectively discourages. Similarly with the fines that are levied, that oftentimes were set in like the 80s. So sometimes developers can easily kind of absorb $300 a day and it's not a big deal. And so it doesn't work. So encouraging revisiting those fines. And then again, the thrust of it was really kind of whether it's compelling or really working with someone who applies for a demolition delay to find a preservation solution or find a new owner, and compelling and making sure that there is some effort being made during that time to reach a solution rather than everyone sitting around and just waiting and expecting it to, not saying that we do that or that it happens, but having tools or funding so that time is productive, and so that in the end preservation does what it's supposed to. Movement is helping to find a way to preserve the building rather than just making everyone mad. So those are there's more, I could, obviously there's other, and some of this requires obviously like rewrites of the demolition delay ordinance, which is a big to do.
That's what I was going to suggest, is that we make a note to put on a future agenda, revisiting the demolition delay ordinance with an eye towards rewriting it and asking the city what they think about that. But taking into account some of these things you brought up, updating that ordinance. And I like the idea of the preservation period. I think that's, that sort of outlook and attitude
Mhm.
is one that is really what we have done in the past. That's been our attitude when people come to us.
Yep.
And I'd like to see that put in more formal terms into a delay ordinance or,
Absolutely.
yeah. So that would be a big job. But if you've got a model ordinance out there that we can get from the state, that would be a good place to start and see just what differences it is to the one that we have now.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, thank you. Sarah, you had something?
Not necessarily like particular historic business, it's more of a housekeeping topic.
Yeah.
Largely that, now that we're getting into these big ticket items like demolitions or reconstructions or projects on Main Street at large, I think it would be prudent to maybe centralize our communication network. Have like a
I'm
official,
not hearing what you're saying.
like have an official email from the city or a way for people to contact us directly. Something that distributes
Email
emails
address?
to all of us.
Well, so what we do, or what people are directed to do historically, no pun intended, is to reach out to Eric, Eric Twarog. And so emails would come through him and then he would forward them to me as the chair.
Yeah, and then things like that letter that today, a couple of us didn't get it. Things like that. I think we should.
Yeah,
we might
and-
need like
yeah.
a central hub for that kind of information.
Yep, I mean, that, absolutely. Yeah, really, in my opinion, my experience of being on this for a long time is that things, emails and letters, physical mail, comes to the town. It's addressed to the Historic Commission, usually the chair, but whatever. And then that gets forwarded to me. And then part of my job is to roll that out to you guys. So that way we're not all getting like mishmash of emails. That's kind of how that's how it has worked. I'm not saying it's like the awesomest or anything, but that's how it is. And like today, I think that was kind of weird, like.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then I'm just thinking
Well,
about
it's
the
so late,
long email
yeah.
chain too that we've
Yeah.
had before about what were we talking about last month, like the special meetings and all that. We had like chains and chains and chains of emails, and it all gets it just gets very.
Yeah, none of that
No.
should be happening outside of the meeting.
So what you would, under your proposal, what we'd have is on the page, on the city page that's dedicated to us, where it tells the members, and so there would be a link to a particular email.
That would be.
That would-
Yeah, we would have a town email.
Send
Yeah,
that
would be nice.
email, and then that email would include a copy sent to all the current members of and whoever else they wanted to send it to.
That might
So
be.
somebody could send an email and it could say, you guys are nuts, and then it would go to all of us. And so we would.
Or it could go to the
Yeah.
chair, it could go to the
That's
chair and the
what you
vice
would
chair.
have, isn't it?
Yes, none of the other committees have, none of the, like, planning doesn't have it, human rights doesn't have it, I was looking through it, none of them have city emails. I could ask our IT guy to do that, it will take forever right now, because he is overworked and
Okay.
understaffed, which is, a municipal government problem in
Yeah.
general.
Sure.
And he's incredible and wonderful, but like none of it's a great idea. I think that's just not going to happen at this point in time, but we can address
Do what we
it.
can.
Well, and
Yeah.
also I think once we go forward with that idea, I think we need to examine it carefully because it also is going to be a magnet. So you have to keep that in mind, that you're going to get stuff.
Right now, your staff contact filters out nonsense.
Okay.
Like
To jump. So there's
Yeah,
two
well,
filters.
Well, I mean, historically, it's all gone, Eric.
staff contact. And, if he gets just silly stuff, like there is silly stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Bet there is.
If it gets filtered out, if there's stuff that isn't relevant or
Yeah.
other things that come through sometimes that it's an imperfect system and I would love to see an updating, and it is on a list of things that I want to see happen at some point.
Okay,
That's what I can offer at this point in time.
good.
Yeah, and I, like I said, I mean, so like when I was first on the commission, we had a liaison, let's call it. A person who worked for the town, who would sit in on all our meetings, who did the recording, like who like took actual notes and typed it up, sent them out, wrote the agendas. We had a person who did all of that in the way back time. And in some ways that was great because it made it a lot easier. And then once that sort of went away, then we kind of divvied that stuff up a little bit, and so like, for example, when I do the agenda, like I have to send it to Eric,
Eric
and
approves
then
it,
he has to
yeah.
put it in. And like I send it to him and, not to beat him up, but sometimes he's away.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't, like I send it to him at 3:30, nothing, crickets, and I'm thinking like, dude, I'm here, like I'm there's always more time to get stuff done. And so, but I'm dealing with the town on that end too. So,
Right.
so it's, and I like, sometimes I feel like I get the appearance of like, like I'm not doing it. Like, no, I do it. And sometimes it just sits there.
Oh, no, for sure.
And,
That's what I was thinking.
And that's right. And that is
something
kind of a
more
pain
central
because
hub.
I can't do it.
If
Like
you
I
get-
don't
if
do
you get
it.
an out of office from Eric, go ahead and forward any agenda items to me. I can get that scheduled for you.
Yeah.
It just needs to be
Great.
social.
Yep, I can get,
So that's
But it can't
that's the main thing.
yeah.
But nevertheless.
But Aaron, can you clarify something? Because we all have this idea of we don't want to cross open meeting law ever.
Yes,
But say, for example, we're trying to find a night to schedule our special meeting,
yes.
which we did do. I know that like we had a bunch of people on it, but not everybody. And then we got a date and then we added other people so that we weren't essentially conducting business online, but we have to be able to schedule things.
So there's a couple options you could use, like internally amongst yourselves, you could use a Calendly link, which is like a little poll amongst yourself. And then you could work with me or Eric, just look at the city schedule and see what time the meeting room is open. So that's probably the easiest way. That's the way the other boards have been doing it for special meetings.
Okay.
You're just talking about reserving the room.
Yeah.
We're talking about talking to people when are they available.
Yeah.
Well, then that could be done with like you set up a poll on like a website called Calendly. I can forward it to you.
Okay. Well, I got the
I'll work
here,
with that.
so.
Okay,
Yeah, it's great.
Come on,
It really
come on.
is easier than it sounds right now, I promise.
Yeah.
Sarah's all
I've used it
over.
before. Well, that's the thing. It's like if I can't just
No,
ask for a solution and not offer my help,
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you do make an
Right?
excellent point. And it's a little
Sarah,
weird.
I'm hoping we can start to streamline things.
I don't think that's I don't think that's breaking the open meetings law to have people say, when can you meet? When can
No,
you-"
We're not discussing topics.
That was the question. But
Yeah,
that was their question.
with open meeting law, there's a lot of annoying rules.
No, like, well, so if you go back to the special
Trying to
meeting,
get around it.
which was
I know all about it.
thrust upon me, hey,
Right.
we want to have a meeting, right? That's how
Yeah.
so like,
Yeah.
let's revisit
Yeah,
the
yeah.
history of it. In August,
Oh,
I got an email saying I have a meeting, so then I go and I reach out to you guys, and I have a group,
They're a big fine.
Historical Commission,
Uh-huh.
2024, so it's like everybody here on the commission, right?
Thursday night.
And I send that out, okay, and they say, okay, can we meet? And that's fine.
Okay.
I think that's
Yes,
totally
that is
fine.
really.
Yeah.
We don't want to get into discussing content and topics of
No, no.
what we're
Yeah.
Absolutely.
on the agenda items.
Schedule meetings.
People, and also when I usually send it out there and I say, here's like my boilerplate agenda. If you have items,
Yeah.
get it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can always add, and because it says it right on there, that agenda
Is flexible.
is approximate at that time. Anyway,
Real briefly on the email question, and I don't know if this is allowed because it could need to be set up through the city. Like what you're talking about, an email that goes to one person, then goes to everyone. You can set up a Google group to do that in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I can do it like that, but I don't know if we wanted it, but I don't know if it would have to be like a city, like
I don't know
through
if
the
that's any
city.
better than a chain
I
email.
think it's just the same
But I
thing.
can put up
A burst, I do a burst email,
Yeah.
same thing, right?
but if we, I mean, it's a snap. I mean, literally in 5 minutes, you
Yeah.
can set up an email that goes to
Yeah.
a whole bunch of people if
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
desired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I have one last thing that I neglected to mention. The Franklin County Agricultural Society reached out to me For a letter of support, they are in the second phase of the barn rehabilitation project and they're applying for funds from the CPA. And as you know, they came to us before and we gave them a letter of support for that. So
This is phase two.
phase two, yep, it's the barn rehabilitation project. It encompasses 3 cattle buildings at the fairgrounds. So that's okay.
Move, we authorize that letter.
All in favor? All right,
Yeah.
all right, so move, still move.
I mean, I'm not
Okay,
too excited about it, but it's okay.
I appreciate their hard work.
The cows aren't complaining, you know?
Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's the only other thing I have. So, all right.
Yep,
All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second that.
Okay, meeting adjourned, 6:04.